stand by. I'll go.
There he goes, counting down.
All right.
Oh, there you go.
Press the one. Yes, I. Blessed. Yeah, we at Fox, Jim Fox Studio, the big Jim Fox Studio, where, man, years and years and years without tears, I was here. And I'm here again. And I see a picture of myself with Don Carlos and Squidly. I said, man, I was looking real good back then, man. Still looking good. Little gray, but still looking good. Right, Fox?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Fox is there. Fox is behind the camera. He's always behind the scene, but he's always making it work. You know what I'm
Always,
saying?
always.
Yes, sir.
It's funny. The first time I met Fox was here. I came here to do the interview with Fox for the feature I was writing about Lion and Fox. You know.
For real, for
Mhm.
real,
First,
for real.
I spent what 2 nights, 3 nights here, just hours. Just recounting all the stuff. He did. But so a lot of history in Lion and Fox. Maybe not in this studio, this location, but I mean, you're talking what 30, more than 30 years.
Yeah, man.
At this point.
Always the same speakers, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything, all the history that comes with this place,
Pure vibe.
with
Right
those
there.
speakers right there, those same ones.
History coming out of those speakers.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, on Chat About TV, we're going to chat about it right now. And I'm with Jim Fox and Mike right here. What's the name of your magazine?
Midnight Raver.
Midnight Ravers. So, watch out, YouTube, ready for you. So, we're going to go down in the bag and bring out the history as best we can, as I remember, as the memory serves. So,
Let's do it.
yes, sir. So, what do you say? What you got? What you got for me?
Well, look, I went ahead. I'm gonna record the audio too, so
Okay.
we got it. I'll get
More so traveled there when I was young, from Jamaican parents, and grew up in a sense. So you can say that in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you remember how you first got into music? When you first started to enjoy music, what was it?
You know what music for me? My sister used to play violin, and my mother always wanted us to take music.
Right.
So we'd have this guy who came. He was a blind guy, and it's funny you mention it because I was just remembering it. Piano. He plays piano. He was teaching us to play piano. But for me, my thing was I wanted to be the next Pele.
Oh, okay.
So when they were there trying to, I was like, no, no.
Okay.
Threw the ball out the window and climbed down through the window and took off. The funniest thing, the only person in my family that plays music now is myself. And my sister, she blind guy. And it's funny you mention it because I was just remembering it. Piano, he plays piano. He was teaching us to play piano. But for me, my thing was I wanted to be the next Pele.
Oh, okay.
So when they were there trying to, I was like, no, no.
Yeah.
Threw the ball out the window and climbed down through the window and took off. The funniest thing, the only person in my family that plays music now is myself. And my sister, she plays, but that's not her thing, you know what I'm saying? But the person who initially made me play was my uncle, my mother's brother. And he's a jazz guitar player. He plays blues, he plays everything.
Right.
And noticed that as we were aging, as young youths, we was getting into a little trouble and stuff like that. So he said, you know what? He got all the boys around, his sons and myself, and started teaching us to play guitar. And the incentive was, he said, all right, he put some money down and he said, if you play these 3 chords, that money is yours. So for weeks, till I got it. So I played A, C, G. So yeah, you got it. Then I went to take up the money and he said, hold on there. I'm gonna put some more on there. If you play these 3 more chords, you get the rest of it. So I never did get the money, but I did learn how to play the music.
Right?
Yeah. And then the last thing, the icing on the cake now was that he took us to a show where he just had all of us young guys. And he was playing, and the girls were like, "Well," so I said, "Oh, yeah, I like that."
That
Yeah.
sealed the deal, right?
That sealed the deal, man. That was the icing on the cake. So from there, I learned on. And then I always had the love of music still. Music was always in our family, and father was a DJ and all of that.
What city was that?
This was in London, England, when we were there. So And plus, my father's sister, she was like, she had albums, music, and so I could always tell what mood she was in. If she had on like Nat King Cole, okay, you know, and
Mhm.
she had moody music on, she and the husband was not having a good time or anything. So you could always tell by the type of music that was playing, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So we used to get into her archives and just listen to music all the time, and so that was a good thing for us, you know.
So what did you dig the most when you first started playing? How old were you when you first started playing the music? When you first had that guitar lesson?
I would say 12.
And
Well, yeah.
so what kind of music were you listening to? Was it like blues or soul or everything?
It was everything from pop to blues to soul, because we had, you know, the Beatles and Rolling Stones and, you know, all those bands, you know, we were listening to. Then we had the reggae from our parents' background, you know what I'm saying? And we were back and forth between Jamaica and England when, you know, the summer holidays and certain things like that. Then, you know, we had American music coming in all the time,
Right.
where, you know, and we had family here and in Canada. So, you know, when the kids would get together now, you know, we would share the kind of music that we had and everything, and say, here, this and the Jackson Five and whatever, and Beach Boys and all kind of different kind of music, and so, you know, it was a just a montage of different music.
So you were exposed to everything at a young age then?
Everything, man. We just getting it and, you know, picking and choosing what we liked, what we didn't like, and everything like that. And for the most part, all of it was good.
Right.
All of it was. It was always interesting. Put it that way. It was like a new music and trying to figure it out and what was playing what, and then of course, you know, being in school, you know, first thing he was exposed to was music appreciation. And the music appreciation, we had a teacher that she would always say, well, what does the flute represent? And you hear the flute, seemed like a bird flying. And you hear the tuba, boom, 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 boom. And you go, okay, that's some of the giant walking through the jungle. So we was able to kind of like have an appreciation for what the orchestral music was playing in terms of what it represented and the piece it was playing, you know?
Yeah.
So those were the next exposure that we had in terms of music, you know what I'm saying?
So at a certain age, did you start to? I mean, did you make a switch to where you were like listening to more reggae, or how did you first get into? Was it the message of reggae? Was it the sound system culture? Were you involved in that at all?
Sound system culture was lifting up some big boxes, you know, that time it was Soprano B, Fatman Hi-Fi, Coxsone, um, a lot of different sound systems, so we was following that. But I'll be honest with you, two things, and I mentioned it to a brethren last night because I was looking at a digital board,
Right.
and I'm gonna backtrack when I said this. You see, before there was even sampling, I used to get two tape recorders. You understand? And it was like you had I would say, like an intro to the music. Musical this is coming your way, right?
Yeah.
And I just peel off a piece of that out of the music and peel off a next piece of something else. And then we would be running a dub, what we call dub plate or acetate at the time. I merged the two. That was like our sampling before there was even samplers them time. This was way back in, I would say 78, 75, around that time. Was doing all those kind of sampling. And moving up to why I said sometimes you do things in music and you don't even realize the impact it has at times. I remember when I used to come over by Fox, you know, and like we'd do a session and Fox have the board set up nice. But then he had to tear it down because the next session was coming in. So I used to say to Jim, man, you don't have a thing where you can just snap the board and it will remember the thing. And a couple of years later, they had automation, and my mind was already thinking them. You know, remember that time, Jim?
Yeah, man.
Way back then, and then you did have some little digital thing coming in there, so where you could do the automation thing before the real thing where now you press the button and you see the faders just fire. So music for me way back then was always wanting to be an engineer in a sense.
Okay.
More so because it was like when I hear all them King Tubby's mix, man, and Studio One, and man, them delay and echo and bam, 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 and all those kind of things, all the drums, and it's like, yeah, I like that. But then it was like learn to play an instrument.
So how'd you start with the bass guitar?
Bass guitar was going to an audition for, I'm playing guitar because my uncle teach me to play guitar. But two things really happened.